Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of voice the radio. So today we need to talk a little bit more about Start Deck 100. Now this, of course, is the thing I've told you about a couple of times at this point on the channel that was revealed last weekend, whereby there's basically 100 different decks, and you buy a blind bag deck, a random deck, and in there you get one of the 100 decks. The deck you buy is going to be a pre-made constructed deck that somebody over at Creatures has actually sat down and designed. There's just 100 versions of them, and you don't know which one you're going to be getting, which makes it awesome. And then, of course, we already know that there are going to be new cards, like Pokepad, which we're going to talk about in a minute, quite a bit, and Mega Charizard Y, which is a brand new Mega EX. Now, I really want to know what the deal is with this Mega Charizard Y. We know that it's in one of the decks, obviously. We know that it's in deck 001 with Reshiram. We don't know if that's the only deck that it's in. And certainly when we had this kind of last time round in Japan, there were exclusive Pokemon. So if Charizard is actually exclusive, and it's only in one deck, then that means buying a deck gets you a 1% chance of getting the Charizard, and bearing in mind, there might only be like one in a deck, and you might want a playset of them. Now, admittedly, it doesn't look phenomenal, fair to point out, but it also doesn't look absolute unplayable trash garbage. Free energy, discard them all, does 280 to one of your opponent's Pokemon anywhere on the field. And bearing in mind, we can accelerate energy with Emboar, we can accelerate energy with Oricorio, we can accelerate energy just using the other Charizard from Obsidian Flames for like 5 minutes until the rotation hits. But still, until the rotation hits, in that 5-minute slot, we are going to be able to do that. Not saying it's going to be good, not saying it's a broken card or anything silly like that, but I absolutely am raising the question as to whether having these exclusive cards in here might be a good thing or not. That is something we can talk more about another time, however, because today we need to talk about an event I really want to take part in. It is the 100-person gathering for a free-for-all battle. And the thing is, I told you about Start Deck 100. One of the absolute best and coolest things about this is the fact that it is just great for sealed play. You buy a deck, you open it. Your mate buys a deck, they open it, you just have a battle. Just awesome. Absolutely love it. Well, this is like that, except there's 100 people. Now, I don't believe, and stop me as always in the comment section if I'm wrong about this, it doesn't seem to say it explicitly on the website, but I'm not sure if they're actually trying to make it so that there's one of each of the 100 decks available for people. That would be the absolute dream here, is that there's 100 people, each of the 100 decks is exactly one copy in the room, and then we have a little bit of a tournament. That would be awesome. That's what I'm hoping for, frankly. That would be amazing. So you get one of these, you get a random deck, and look, you have to play with a deck that you're given, and the reality is, no, it's not going to be entirely fair. These decks are not going to be even in power level. Absolutely. There are going to be some decks which are just better than others. There are going to be some decks which are significantly worse than others, and there's just nothing we can do about that. No, it's not entirely fair and even. And look, there's an old card game which is technically still going, but there's a game I used to play a lot a few years ago called Keyforge. Love Keyforge. Over on my other channel, Wassy Plays, you'll see a bunch of old Keyforge coverage, and I casted that game. Huge Keyforge fan. And they weren't constructed decks. They were basically made by an algorithm. But essentially what happened was you bought a sealed booster pack, but the booster pack was just a deck, not constructed by somebody, but made using an algorithm with certain rules, and playing that sealed was just so much fun. And I played a bunch of sealed Keyforge. I had an event where I was casting, but on day one, there wasn't actually a tournament being streamed. So I was just kind of hanging around, and whenever there was a 7-person pod that couldn't find an 8th person, they chucked me a deck and I went and played. I loved it. But the decks weren't even. And that is, I believe, a very, very, very important point. The decks were not made even. Sometimes I would sit down to play Constructed, and it was perfect. And I'd sit down and I'd take one look at my deck and I'd play a game and I'd be like, oh, this is perfect. I am going to have a good day. And there were other times where I would go 0-3 in a sealed event, and to win you had to forge 3 keys, and, I would forge 2 keys in 3 games. It was that bad at times. That was a joy of Keyforge. And you're going to see a similar thing here with this kind of sealed battle. Some of these start decks are going to be significantly worse than others, and those people won't stand much of a chance. Some are going to be better. That is a massive downside. I understand it. I accept it. I don't care. I want to participate in one of these. It sounds amazing. Now, they're going on from December the 19th to the 28th of February, and you do get a deck, and you have to play that deck as is. No modifications can be made. And if you join in, just for participating, you get a paper deck case, a cardboard deck case. It's got, basically the main Pokemon from the front of the 100 start deck on it. It's fine. It's a cardboard deck case. I don't think it will fit a sleeve deck. These usually don't. So it's kind of like a bit of a throwaway thing, but it's still kind of cool. If you finish, and you don't need to do anything other than play all of your rounds, you get a stamped poker pad. I want this card. This card is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It basically is just an item card that lets you search your deck for a Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box and put it in your hand. No other downside here. All you do is just search for a non-rule box Pokemon. There's no discard cards from your hand, no anything else. It is very literally, as long as it doesn't have a rule box, you just search for a Pokemon, you'll be fine. I adore this. It is, and this is a card that worries me a little bit, because to go back to our Charizard discussion from earlier, this has got to be either in a bunch of decks, hopefully all of them, honestly, or made available somewhere else. And no, I don't consider the promo for this event, which is being held by a lottery system because it's blatantly going to be oversubscribed, I don't count this as being made available somewhere else. It's going to be awkward, all right? But it's too good. It is going to be an absolute staple. Any non-EX deck is going to play 4 of these every time, no question. Every deck that plays a mixture of EXs and non-EXs, this is going to be a staple. And the only decks that won't play it are entirely EX decks. So something like Raging Bolt, which might play like a tech single prizer, yeah, they're probably not going to play this card. But like everything else is going to. Phenomenal card. So no, this isn't working in terms of getting it in the hands of more people, but it is a foil stamped version of the card, which makes it, as of this moment, the best version of the card. And I want this. I want 4 of these. I want a play set. It's awesome. Hang on a second. What about prizes? There's a sticker. Now, to be fair, the sticker's kind of cool. It's got all those main Pokemon from Start Deck 100 on, and then it's got the Pokemon card game Mega logo in the top right-hand corner, and it's got winner in the bottom left, and then it's got the event logo in the bottom right and all of that. You win 3 times, you get the sticker. That's it. There's also going to be rock, paper, scissors to give 5 people a prize as well, but yeah, I mean, look, the sticker is where we are, all right? Simple as that. And it is worth noting, apparently there's only going to be 3 rounds. There is a maximum of 3 rounds. So to get the sticker, you have to go undefeated. No 3 rounds is not enough to go to 1 X and O. So in theory, you get 100 people. Well, after round 1, you got 50 undefeated. After round 2, you've got 25 undefeated. And after round 3, you've got, well, assuming the person who's paired down wins, 13 undefeated. So you're basically looking at around about 13 people getting this sticker in every event. It's going to be, weirdly, a very rare sticker. I just love that they're doing this. I think the promo PokePad is fantastic. And I just think this is the best set. The best product for doing an event like this. No, it's not without downsides, as I've explained, but I dearly wish I could take part in this. And look, we've talked about StarTech 100 on this channel quite a bit. Knowing that there's this awesome sealed event happening, knowing that there's a very cool promo version of PokePad, this is something we needed to have a little bit of a chat about. But we have had a little bit of a chat about it now. So now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this. Tell me if you want to join in. Tell me if you are desperate for Start Deck 100 to make a Western appearance unlike last time. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at Diancie. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Martin Cornwall, who's been a supporter of ours since 2012 when it was a podcast and I'd never made a YouTube video. So shout out to Martin for many years of support. Haven't been lovely. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.